cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the...
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta, and this is Get Right Fantasy Network. We're here for part 2 of our Start Sit show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that with Classic Mike. But I'm excited to get into it, man. I'm going to be breaking down 8 games here, the rest of the slate that the fellas before us didn't get to. Of course, I'll be taking your live questions here. So if you do have any, drop them in the chat now. I'll go during our live Q&A segment, go through and answer as many questions as I can. If you do want me to stop, what I'm doing, or at that next break to answer your question immediately, you can throw us a super chat. So of course, those are always appreciated as well. So again, hopefully you're hitting that like and subscribe button for us if you're watching here now. And just to let you guys know, we are here with you guys almost 7 days a week. So again, you guys just got done with part 1 of Start Sit here on Friday. Coming up on Sunday, Classic Mike will do his active and active show. Just, any questions we can't get to here today, he will be here on Sunday to get those done when we have those final injury designations. Frank and I will be back here on Mondays to do waiver wire. We do buy low, sell high. Trade show, roster management on Wednesdays. My boy Phil over at the Extra Point has his shows on Wednesdays and Thursdays and at the Extra Point. And then, of course, Tycoon here on the Fantasy Boardroom, which shout out to Tycoon. Happy birthday, my guy. He might even be making it here with us. He might pop in and come join me here for the show. But if not, it'll just be me here tonight. Without Phil. He had something come up, so he couldn't make it, but it's not just me. I'm here with all you guys here in the chat as well, so make sure you let us know. Without any further ado, let's get into it. We'll break down our first game here on the slate, or at least my first game, and that is going to be Eagles 2-1 coming in to the Buccaneers house, who are also 2-1. We had this coming in with the Eagles favored by 1.5 with a 42.5 point over under. So that line's been changing a little bit from the original 45. Obviously, we have AJ Brown, dealing with that hamstring injury, listed as questionable. We'll see if he gets in the lineup. But we have Devonta Smith already been ruled out on the Bucs side of the ball. Bucky Irving's dealing with the hamstring injury. He might be ruled out. Or is listed as questionable right now. So when it comes to this game, one of my biggest, question marks here is what to do with Jalen Hurts. Obviously, if he doesn't have Devonta Smith or, maybe not 100% AJ Brown. I know this Bucs secondary is, kind of banged up. They have been, giving up, kind of a good amount of points to the wide receiver position. They're 21st, giving up about 30.9 points per game. To the quarterback position, they're 15th, giving about 18.8. With Hurts's, rushing floor, I think it's still okay to go ahead and start him because, of course, Barkley can be, catching the ball as well in that backfield. And Tampa Bay has been giving up the most points to the running back position at 29.6. So I really like Barkley here this week. He is my RB1 because of that. I think he'll be used both on the ground and in the air with Devonta Smith out. So it should be, nice go there. So I still think Hurts is good enough to start. I think Baker's a good start as well. Philly's been giving up 17.3 points to the quarterback position. And they're seventh, giving up 40 points a game to the wide receiver position here. So I do like Evans and Godwin as well. They were dealing with knee and neck injuries, respectively. Looks like they're both going to be a go. So I think you definitely fire them up. It should be, a nice game here. I think Rachaad White is the interesting play. I heard the guys talking about it earlier regarding, just kind of what to do with Rachaad White because the Bucky Irving, emergence. But I still think in this type of game, we know Baker is the check down king. So I think there's definitely going to be opportunities for him to still be fantasy relevant, even if he maybe cedes some of the actual rushing work, which at this point, man, let him have those, type of touches and keep Rachaad White healthy, being the pass catcher for the PPR leagues. Not to mention, I just made a trade for him and Godwin as well. So I'm a little invested in that a little bit more this week too. So other than that, man, again, Barkley I have as a start, Evans and Godwin I have as a start. I'm sitting Otton. That just kind of leaves what to do with Dallas Goedert. I just think, of course, with especially if AJ Brown's out, I'll have him ranked probably as like the top 2 tight end behind Brock Bowers, just because really that's the only, he's going to be the main pass catcher of the offense. And we've seen, what he was able to do last week, being thrust in that type of position. I will, of course, move him down if we do get the news that AJ Brown will start. I'm just going to kind of, play that by ear, but just given the landscape of the tight end position and coming off the game he just had, you're most likely going to have to go ahead and start Dallas Goedert in that position. So I have him as a start. I'm starting White. I'm starting Baker and Hurts. So I'm kind of trying to find a way to get the majority of these guys here in this game. So as far as official rankings, I have Hurts as my QB8. So I still have him as a QB1. So definitely startable in 1 and 2 QB in Superflex leagues. I have Baker Mayfield as my QB11, so still a start right ahead of Sam Darnold going up against Green Bay. So I do like both of those guys. And again, a lot of the players here, basically, except for Otton, I think you can get away with. So almost start them all and hope for a nice game. All right, so let's move on here. We'll get on to the second game of the on the game slate, or at least that I have here for part 2. We have the Commanders coming in 2-1 at the Cardinals, who are favored by 3.5 with a 49-point over/under. So I like this game. We did get, did drop from over 50 points. I think it opened at 50.5. But of course, with the news with McBride being out, that's going to be tough. Eckler was ruled out with that concussion. Both these guys dealing with concussions and ruled out. Eckler earlier in the week. So when it comes to guys here, I'm starting Kyler Murray. Washington's given up the most points to the quarterback position, 30.4 in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. So I'm absolutely getting Kyler in there. Jamar Chase, you saw what he did against this secondary last week. So I'm absolutely firing up Marvin Harrison Jr. I want to get Brian Robinson in there as well. Arizona's given up the 10th most points to the running back position at 24.7. So I think he's a nice play, especially with Eckler out as well. James Conner, you kind of have to get in there. Washington has given up the 12th most points to the running back position at 24.2. So I think he's just a nice solid play as well. And then, really it comes down to, can we get Daniels in here? And I think, again, with this type of shootout, we saw his completion percentage over 90% last game. He was throwing the deep ball, made that connection with Scary Terry. So just with his rushing floor alone, I think you have to get him in there this week. I actually have him as my QB4 overall in this game. Again, thinking there's going to be a lot of points and back and forth. So let me get Jaden Daniels in here as a start. That comes down to now Terry McLaurin, though. I did kind of move down here a little bit in my rankings. I did talk about it last week. If in the buy sell trade show, he was someone I was looking to kind of sell if I could. Without that long touchdown, he wouldn't have had a very, good stat line, but of course, ifs and buts. I just hadn't been really too high on him. But we've seen he can, kind of pop here and be a nice wide receiver too. I believe that's where I have him ranked, unless I was like completely disrespecting him, which I may have. I've been known to do. And kind of I have. So yeah, I have him more as a wide receiver 3 as my wide receiver 28 this week, which is still a start in your 3 wide receiver leagues and definitely flex worthy in a 2 wide receiver full PPR league. Just because again, that upside for the big play is there. So that leaves us with the other Washington guys, of course, with McBride being unavailable. That opens up opportunities for Greg Dortch and Michael Wilson. So I think, again, they could be flex worthy this week. I did move them up in my rankings. I believe I have them. I have Dortch at 46, which is kind of like a flex in a 3 wide receiver league. And I have Michael Wilson at 42. So yeah, I have them both as, kind of nice flex plays here again against this Washington secondary. I don't know which one it's going to be, or maybe both, hopefully, as a Kyler Murray owner. And, hopefully all these guys have great games, here. The only guys I kind of, and then there's, Ertz. I think, again, just given the landscape of the tight end position, you can get Ertz in here if you need to play him. I think he's like, tight end like 5 or 6 overall, just because that's how tight end is right now. But yeah, the other guys I'm sitting, De'Ami Brown, Luke McCaffrey. I mean, I like McCaffrey's usage. I know he's, Frank's guy. Still don't know if he's going to be fantasy relevant yet. So I'd kind of like to sit him, see a little more. But yeah, so there we go. That should wrap up Commanders Cardinals, and we'll move on here. We got Albert saying what's up. So there we go. Move on to the next game here, which is going to be Patriots at the Niners. Niners are coming in favored by 10.5 in this game, with an over-under of 40.5. Debo here is listed as questionable. Looks like George Kittle dealing with his hamstring. He looks like he's going to play. So that, kind of drops down Juwan Jennings for me here in my rankings, but still think he could be a potential play. But with that said, if Kittle's good to go, I'm putting him in my lineup. I love Mason this week. I have him as my RB4 overall this week. It's not like New England's doing anything crazy. They're pretty modest against the run, giving up 22 points a game, ranked 17th most right now. So again, not too bad. Brandon Ayuk, I think you have to get in there with no Debo. You just got to trust that'll get back. And of course, I stand corrected with Purdy. And his why did I doubt the guy? I have him as QB 10, actually, right ahead of Baker Mayfield. So some of the guys maybe the question here is going to be Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, the Niners, they've kind of been known for their defense, but we haven't been doing that great so far. We've actually given up the 8th most points to the running back position at 25.2 per game. So I think Ramondre, is going to be someone you can play. If things do get out of hand, you could look towards, Antonio Gibson. We don't know what really kind of went on last week with Stevenson, sitting out, dealing with that, I think, thumb injury or whatever, but seems to be a go now. So again, just given the landscape of the running back position, Stevenson, of course, I have, higher than Gibson, of course. But I think, Gibson could be potentially flexible, just again, depending on, how your lineups have survived so far here, this week. So it is a little tough. So with that said, I did mention Juwan Jennings earlier. I think you have to, get him in your lineups here this week if Debo's out. He's obviously shown, what he could potentially do. I mean, it's not, always going to be repeatable. But I have him here, at wide receiver 26, ahead of guys like Brian Thomas Jr., Terry McLaurin, and George Pickens. The Patriots have given up the 6th most points to the wide receiver position at 40.1 points per game to the opposing wide receiving core. So again, I think, and that doesn't even count the tight end like with Kittle, which they've given up they're about mid at 15. But I think you can definitely get Jennings and Ayuk and Kittle with Purdy, of course, into your lineup to have a good game. And of course, coming off that loss, they're going to want to put up points and try to reestablish themselves. Or at least that's what I hope as a fan. So that leaves us with Hunter Henry. The Niners have given up the least amount of points to the tight end position. You got to deal with a guy named Fred Warner over there. So that's not always a good thing. Only 3.3 points to the tight end position. So just kind of be wary of that if you're looking to, to stream them. Probably not the way to go. So I'd probably stay away from that and go elsewhere. So I'd have Henry as a sit. I'm also sitting the other New England wide receivers here. The Niners, again, aren't that much better than New England. They've given up the 9th most points to the wide receiver position at 37.1. So we could be had there. But again, I just think hopefully this pass rush can get in, disturb Brissett enough to hopefully put this game away easy again with the 10.5 point over under. So I'm sitting them pretty much starting all Niners and sitting the majority of New England outside of probably Ramondre Stevenson. All right, so we will move on here. A couple things in the chat. Again, keep the stuff coming. Appreciate that. Anonymous Gaming says, loving this channel, man. We love you. I appreciate you liking and subscribing and coming in here and giving us your time. That's the thing that is the hardest thing to give. Is your time. So really appreciate the time you guys spend here with us, man. It's always a blast seeing you guys come back. And then of course, loving the new names as we continue to grow here at the channel. It's been an awesome ride. Joe says, bro, that mic is sweet. Sounded killer in my truck. So right on, man. I hope this is a lot better than Robo Rasta. Hopefully Robo Rasta here is no more, no mas anymore, man. So yeah. So again, Joe, I see you're a guy here. I got your question, Prettier Stroud in the Guillotine League. We'll get to that. Isaac Cedillo, I see your question there. Pickens or Diggs. We'll get to that as well during the Q&A section. If you guys want me to get to your question right away, just drop me a super chat. If not, it will be in the Q&A section later once I get through all the games. So hang out, stick around with us. We'll preview the game. I might even get to it, if I'm previewing your game. And then we'll kind of just see how it rides it out, but I'll definitely answer as many questions as I can. So let's do it. Let's move on here to the next game. We're going to go Chiefs, who are favored here by 7, going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. 40-point over under on this one. Kansas City should come in and pretty much dominate this game pretty easy. I don't know why Niners are favored by 10.5, especially the way the Patriots defense has kind of been, playing. And, as far as the numbers and betting odds and stuff go, I'm not sure if they've covered and all that. I'm not really the betting guy here at Get Right Fantasy. I'm more the fantasy guy. Yeah, so when it comes to, those odds, it's a little strange that Kansas City over the Chargers here, wouldn't be a little bigger. But with that said, of course, we're starting Mahomes, we're starting Rice, we're starting Kelsey. There's no way around that. Then it comes down to, Xavier Worthy, do we want a piece of that here on the Chiefs side? Obviously great best ball player when you don't have to decide when to play him or not. But in this type of matchup here with the Chargers, being kind of stingy on the ground, but their defense has played, pretty well kind of so far this year, all things considered, trying to play, some more ball control on the other side of the ball. Again, coming in at 2-1 divisional game. You have to be willing to accept either one way or the other if you're starting Worthy. If you drafted him, you knew he's going to be that type of player, to see if we can see that consistency. But we've seen when he can hit home runs, he doesn't need many touches to make an impact on your fantasy team. So again, I think he could potentially be flex worthy, no pun intended. But with that said, I probably have him more so as a sit. But I'm just the kind of guy who, likes just some boom in my lineup. I have him right on that borderline of a wide receiver 3 at my wide receiver 35. And I do actually have him ahead of guys like Addison and Watson, who you guys know I love. But I might actually move them back and just maybe put him at 37 right outside that wide receiver 3, more like a flex play in a 3 wide receiver league. I'd feel a little more comfortable in that position. So let's talk about the running backs here. In Kansas City, you have Carson Steele coming off a pretty decent game on the ground last week. I don't think it was, as bad as we thought. He didn't get into the end zone, but he did get, 17 carries, did have 72 yards, 4.24 per carry. So not bad at all. Obviously he's better in, non-PPR, although he did see 2 targets and got 1 catch just for 2 yards. But, it's at least he got that look, or, that at least attempted to throw to him, just to not be completely predictable when it comes to, putting a running back out there. You got to still kind of leave those guys out every once in a while. If you guys remember, even when Chiefs Baltimore, like one of the second or third plays in their game script was like a little flare out, to Derrick Henry, to just kind of show everybody on national TV, like, no, we're going to throw to him as well. And then I think Justice Hill proceeded to play like 5 or 6 more snaps and out snap him in the first, like 13 plays of that game. But that's neither here nor there. I digress. So Carson Steele, again, you want him to get in the end zone. Will he get there? I don't know. They don't absolutely need him in order to get in the end zone. So that's the thing that's a little bit of a worry. So again, I have him out there as a low end, potential flex, or again, just with some of the situations you're in, if you have to put him as your RB2, I'm comfortable doing that. Chargers have given up the 20.8 points to the running back position, 21st, so fairly good against the run. So I don't know. Not someone I'm screaming to go get, but at the same time, it's not like I'm completely fading him either. Just going to be depending on your situation. Samaje Perine, kind of same thing. Have him as a sit, lower than Steele. And I just think, you have to really be in a tough situation to get Perine in there. Especially if this game is going to be a positive game script with the Chiefs leading early, they might just go ahead and lean on Carson Steele, and Perine may not see the floor or the field as much. So now we'll go ahead and move over to the Chargers. We have Herbert dealing with that high ankle. We were kind of talking about it a little bit on the last show. What's going to happen, right? If he plays, they said, even if he does start and he, hobbles or comes up limping at all, they're going to pull him. That's what they said after the last game, which is why he left as soon as, he had that kind of wrong plant. They do have the bye week after this. So I'm sure a lot of people are just like, why not just sit him this game, give him 2 weeks to rest and just, be healthy. It's Kansas City anyway. So what really are your odds of winning this game? Even if you play, why set your franchise quarterback back? So again, these are the decisions that are, could be Harbaugh's job, and his job may be on the line anyway. Who knows what their expectation is in that building? Again, they're off to a 2-1 start. Why not hit the bye week at 2-2 with your quarterback, resting up? And who knows, maybe these guys rally around Easton Stick. You play some ball control, keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, play a little defense, maybe get a, turnover, which, Pat threw last week. And, maybe you can stay close enough in this game and make something happen, without playing Herbert. I doubt it, but, I wouldn't want to risk like the rest of the year, especially with the divisional, opponent like this. Just kind of, I would like to heal up, but again, I always respect guys that want to go out there and play. This is what they want to do. I know when I played, it was going to be so hard to keep me off the field. I don't care if I felt like I was, 95%. No offense to the people playing behind me, but as a starter, you're like, me at 75% is better than the second string guy. So if you guys in the chat know what I'm talking about there, let me know. But you always just feel, if you're that type of guy, you always just feel even a less value of me is still better than whoever my backup is. And then not only that, you just don't want your backup to come in to be able to even give them that opportunity to pop. You're wanting to keep that spot. So anyway, I digress. I don't have anyone here to talk to except for myself here tonight and you guys here in the chat. So keep it coming, man. We'll see what happens. So, all right. So let's finish off this Chargers here. That was enough about Herbert. If he plays, I'm kind of staying away from him just overall. I believe I have him ranked outside of my top 24 quarterbacks here this week. I kind of just want to stay away from them at this point. If there are other options out there, I think like Sam Darnold and even Andy Dalton that I would play ahead of him right now. So yeah, I have him as my QB 26 right now, just because again I feel like there's other guys that can put up more points at this point, especially considering he's not even guaranteed to play the full game. or at a higher risk of not playing a full game. Anyone could do that. So let's see who else we got. J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins going up against this stingy Kansas City defense. They've are 29th against the run, only giving up 15.8 points on the ground. But again, if everyone's hurt and everything, and there's if Herbert's out, it'll probably be Dobbins. Strick will probably just check down to him like 13 times. He'll probably have like 8 catches for 27 yards. And then maybe he scores a touchdown on the ground or even in the air in some garbage time. And I can see it happen. But other than that, I'm kind of fading away from Dobbins a little bit, as I kind of was talking with the guys over there, even though they kind of liked him being in there. Again, I can see it kind of going either way. I do still have him as my RB21, but this is a guy I've ranked, as high as like QB8, or RB8, RB7 or so, in weeks past because of this situation and how he's looked. Just not quite feeling it with this game. Also not feeling Quentin Johnston here. Lad McConkey might have an opportunity underneath. These linebackers are good though. Again, I'm probably just kind of fading most Chargers players here against this Kansas City defense. So I think that pretty much wraps up that game. I don't really have anyone as a complete sit, so to speak, without even at least talking it out. But yeah, I think I covered everyone in that game. So just let me know if I didn't. All right. Dangerous Toys, I see in the chat there. Joe Kingsley, we see your guys' chats. We will get to it during our live Q&A section once I get through with these start sit breakdowns here. If you do want your question read right away, you can throw me a super chat and I will get to it in between with like right now. If we had one, we'd be putting it up and answering it. Otherwise, we will continue to move on. Of course, before I do, though, I have to tell you guys about our boys over here who make this happen. Love our partnership with Underdog Fantasy. Underdog, they're known for their best ball drafting, of course, off season, leading up to the season. There's no waivers, no trades, no setting your lineup. You just draft the team, set it and forget it. Of course, a ton of strategy and things. And of course, we go over that here with the channel to do it. But the best thing to do is, I really love their pick'em contest right now too. We're just picking higher or lower on certain things. They actually have a Patrick Mahomes free pick right now, site wide. For higher or lower, a half a total passing yard. So it's basically a free pick. So make sure you guys go check out Underdog, download the app, go to the website, underdogfantasy.com. And when you do, and you make your first deposit, use that promo code GetRight, man. You will get $1,000 deposit match, 50% up to that $1,000 in bonus cash when you use that promo code. So go check it out now. I think I only got like 100 was the max when I did it. So I would have loved to got $1,000 free dollars on them. So go check them out, man. And again, use that promo code GetRight. All right. So we will move on here. And Husky Dad, I see your question there. We'll get to it during our Q&A section. If you do want it or need me to answer it right away and go back and forth, you can shoot me a super chat. If not, I will get to it. It'll just be at the later part of the show. If you do have to leave for whatever reason, just come back, watch it later. I will have the timestamps in there. Just go to the Q&A section and you can, just listen for your question to be answered there on the recording. So I will move on here. So the next game that I have on my slate here is going to be the Cleveland Browns, who are favored by 2, visiting the Las Vegas Raiders with a over-under of only 36.5 points in this one. Raiders and Browns coming in both 1-2. Again, wait, are the Browns favored? Oh, it must have switched because I think when I did this show sheet, it was Vegas by 1.5. But now it looks like Browns -2. It sure is. So obviously the news with Devontae Adams being out and then Max Crosby being ruled out. Adams dealing with a hamstring. Looks like it I don't know why, or it did flip the line. I'm looking at the wrong place. Flip the line to Browns favored by 2 in the Raiders' house. So that's almost like 5 if they were on a neutral field. So again, 36.5 point over under. on this one. I'm starting Amari Cooper in this one. I think Bowers is a smash play this week. I was chatting with the boys. I really like Ford this week. Even with Foreman kind of getting those carries, I think it subsided. He didn't see as much, this last week like he did week 2. I think they might have tried something and realized, nope, we need to give Ford the ball. So I hope to continue to see that going. Vegas has given up the third most points to the running back position at 29.1. So I'm hoping, Foreman can have a little bit of that, but let Ford, be used, in a nice fashion, and hopefully he gets in the end zone here against the Raiders. We saw what Derrick Henry did to him last week. So, I'm not saying Ford's Henry, but let's try to get, let's try to get a performance like that. So yeah, those are the guys I have as my must starts. The guys I'm sitting in this game, I don't want anything to do with Zamir White with his usage. I do have Foreman as a sit. I'm sure you have better options there. I'm not chasing, anything there or potential usage. I think there's definitely better options out there. And then someone like Gardner Minshew, with Cleveland giving up only the 21st most points, only 16.7 to the position so far. Tough secondary. Myles Garrett looks like he will be active. And then with them not having Crosby on the other side, could be a long day for Minshew if they do get up and have to just drop back and pass and feel the wrath of Myles Garrett. So that could be a very long day. What to do with Deshaun Watson, because Vegas is giving up the 8th most points to the quarterback position at 20.4. I have him, I think, as a QB2 right now. I don't have him in my top 12. But I think, in super flex leagues, you can find a way to get him in there. If you're in a pinch, but you have guys maybe like Love and, things like that are coming back this week. So yeah, I have Deshaun down as my QB 22. Jacoby Myers. So with Adams being out, I was just talking with the fellas here. Cleveland has given up the 14th most points to the wide receiver position, even though they have, 2 nice cornerbacks over there in Newsome and Ward. But we've seen 32 points be on average be put up here, so maybe there could be an opportunity. Myers should see a ton of targets. Him and Bowers is really going to be where this concentration of targets, I believe, should and will be. Maybe Addison gets worked in there from passing game standpoint, possibly, but for the most part, I think it is going to be concentrated between those two. So I'd like to see that potentially happen there. Jerry Jeudy, he could be a sneaky play. I think I have him as like a flex in a 3 wide receiver league right now. He's done, pretty well so far. But I think he's still just kind of more of a stash and might be more of a bye week type play. Again, just depending on your situation. So Trey Tucker, so he could be a potential big play guy here. Cleveland's not usually known for giving up the big play, but we've seen him be able to make that happen. So he could be a sneaky little start. And then Madison again, maybe as a flex, type situation. I don't know. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But I'm kind of sitting him as well. And then Atkins with Njoku being ruled out. He had a decent game last game, not bad for a spot start. But and Vegas is giving up the 16th most posts. They're about mid to the tight end position at 9.5. But 9.5 points at the tight end position is basically like tight end 6 or 7 every week. So he might be good enough to throw in there. I did have to actually start him last week, and like I said, I wasn't too upset with it. So more than what Andrew's got me in several other leagues. So that's neither here nor there. We will go ahead and move on. Let's see. Joe says, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't mess with you. Yeah, no, that definitely was like that was our moment. Like that just made us even cooler right there. So I appreciate that, man. That's good stuff. I like it. Usually I'm the wisecracker, but you could tell how serious I've been taking this sound situation, and I'm so upset the last 2 streams. I feel like I didn't get to talk, so it's almost worked out perfect that I'm here and I get to talk the entire show with no one else's take, even though I love having the guys on. But it is funny just being able to say everything, and it's unchallenged and no one else to throw to. So it's a little weird, but yeah, I'll make it happen with you guys. All right, so we'll move on here. We'll get to the Sunday night football game. We have, I think, just 2 more games because we have 2 Monday night games this week. So this is going to be Sunday night football, Bills at Ravens. You have the Ravens actually coming in here favored by 2.5 with a 46.5 point over under. So should be a good fantasy game in this one. You're starting, of course, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. There's no question there. You're starting James Cook. You're starting Zay Flowers. You're starting Henry. I think those are just must starts here. I don't see any reason why you don't want to start these guys unless you just have way better, other options. Guys I'm sitting are going to be Curtis Samuel, my guy, Bateman, not quite there yet. Algalore, he'll kind of sneakily have a big game here or there, but I'm not, I don't think he's a fantasy relevant type guy. Ray Davis is still interesting, but I don't think he has standalone start value quite yet. But definitely someone I want to have on the bench, let alone if, knock on wood, I don't want it to happen, but something were to happen with Cook. Davis has looked like, pretty like he can do something here in the league and has been playing well. So I don't mind having him as a backup, but I do have him a sit this week. So then it comes down to Mark Andrews, man. What do we do with Mark Andrews? That's the question that everyone's asking. For me, I just think it's simple, man. If we're getting excited over tight end 5, who, Noah Fant last week, who had 6 catches for 60 yards in full PPR, 12 points as your tight end 5 overall. What else can you do, right? So you have someone like Andrews, you drafted him early, probably 5th round is where he was going, and pretty much any type of draft I was doing, outside of Superflex, it's bounced a little bit because of the QBs, but he's pretty much a 5th round pick in 1 QB leagues. You're firing him out there, man. Unless he, it's going to take like a couple months, and I have to have somebody doing really well that's on the available, or unless I'm buying low on like McBride or somebody like that right now, maybe take Andrews and somebody else, to the McBride owner now that he's rolled out, especially if that McBride owner happens to be 1-2 or even 0-3 right now. Maybe you can get a Saturday trade done, Andrews and another piece and just go ahead and pick up McBride. But otherwise, I think you have to get Andrews in your lineup. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time there on him, on those thoughts, but that's just kind of where I'm at. I feel like Kincaid, the other tight end in this game, we've seen him finally, get in the end zone. So that's nice to see. I think you have to start him here this week. I do like starting Khalil Shakir. I think he's, I have him in several leagues as a flex in several places, him and Coleman actually. And I think just with their upside being attached to Josh Allen, Coleman was able to score, a touchdown as well. So it's nice to see maybe that connection is forming. I didn't expect him to just come out and be Steph Diggs, right away. But, he's definitely somebody I'm holding and trying to see what can, potentially flourish and see that connection grow week over week and see who starts to command targets in this offense, especially with Josh Allen, opening it up and showing, hey, I'm still going to be able to throw the ball. That whole James Cook thing was just, that's going to happen. Like we could do that too, but like you still got to worry about me as well. So I think it was a great game plan, that they did. And I just wish Josh Allen would have done that the week before. I might still be playing in the Guillotine League myself. Congrats to the guy who I think bid 501 and got Allen when he was on the wire when I was knocked out. That's the guys I'm talking about. Pretty much sums up the rest of that game for me. Again, starting Allen, Lamar, Henry, Cook, and Flowers, and again benching Samuel, Bateman, Algalore, and Ray Davis. So we will move on here. Again, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I know a lot of you guys probably asked your questions last show, but if you do want my take on it, you can drop them here as well. If not, we could just hang out here. We'll finish up these games and have a good rest of your Friday evening. So let's get into Titans, who are favored here 1.5 at the Dolphins, which at a 36.5 point over just kind of shows you the state of the Dolphins right now with this Tua injury. Just, of course, tough to see right now. Of course, Thompson dealing with the rib injuries, Snoop Huntley, the backup for Lamar Jackson for a few years is here now. They signed him. Could be him. Maybe it's Tim Boyle. Maybe it's Skylar Thompson. We have no idea. And it's a Monday night game. So, we haven't got full word on it. I don't even have word if, Mosher, who's been dealing with that chest, he was limited here on Friday, still listed as questionable. They will have their final practice tomorrow, again, since it's the Monday game, and we'll find out more, on both of these guys, and hopefully they, announce who the starter is going to be. And then we can maybe make some decision on these guys. So I think for this game specifically, you're probably going to have to come back with us Sunday morning when Classic Mike's doing his active and active list, because we're going to need to see who is active, who's not active, and then how that might affect your lineups on the main slate on Sunday. And then compared to who you want to start, or maybe take the chance with on Friday. So, of course, that does bring us to guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, probably the two people we've been asked about most this week. What do we do with these guys? We thought Tyreek Hill was going to be quarterback proof. Obviously, that didn't turn out very well. Waddle was like even worse. We've seen people wanting to trade or acquiring him and, almost ridiculous trades. People are panicking. And he was someone that, I was really high on. A lot of people had Tyreek Hill as their wide receiver 1 overall this year. Obviously, that's not going to happen at this point because of the injury. Tua is maybe just a couple weeks away at the soonest. Maybe he is, have an extended absence. We'll see what happens. I think it's positive that he's staying around the team. But with all that said, when it comes down to starting and sitting these guys, I actually have Tyreek Hill down here. I couldn't be too disrespectful, but I do have him as my wide receiver 23. Waddle, I had to go a little lower as my wide receiver 38, pushing him into a flex, in a 3 wide receiver, where normally he's just a set and forget wide receiver 2. With weekly wide receiver, top 12 potential finish. But yeah, so that's what the quarterback bump has done to me. I think McDaniel, if anyone can scheme some, easy touches for these guys, get it more involved. And I think that's what they said, after the game. So hopefully we see maybe some screens, just some, quick slants, things like that. Cause, just get Tyreek Hill out in space. I'm sure we'll see a couple end arounds or, lining Tyreek up in the backfield, just to get the ball in your playmakers' hands. Not only to keep him happy, but, just keep the morale going and of course, try to win a game. It is going to be winnable against the Titans. I mean, they do have a tough defense, but they don't have a great offense and, Dolphins don't have a great defense either, again, which is why this is only a 36.5 point, over under game. But I am pretty much fading a lot of the guys, in this game. So really, I think the only people that you can even consider a must start is going to be Devon Achane. Here in this one, maybe Tony Pollard. I have him as like a must start RB2, going up against this Miami defense, who gives up the 5th most points to the running back position at 28.2 per game. But I do like, again, Tennessee giving up 23.7 and the 13th most with Achane here. So I think he'll have a nice game. But, for the most part, I'm sitting whoever the Miami quarterback's going to be. I'm sitting Will Levis, maybe in, a super flex leagues. You can find a way to get him in here against this Miami defense, who's still been a little stingy to the quarterback position. That's because they give up so much on the ground. At only 12.7 points per game. That's 24th or what is that, like 8th best against quarterbacks so far. I'm sitting Jonnu, I'm sitting the tight ends, Chig, I'm sitting Tyler Boyd. When it comes to Ridley and D-Hop, those are, a little more interesting of a question. I have Ridley down here as a wide receiver 31, so I have him as a wide receiver 3 basically. And I have DeAndre Hopkins, even though he's looking like he's, starting to work his way back in a little more. Some of the catches, here making it was like, oh, there's there's our guy. And then last week 73 and a touchdown, so not bad there. So yeah, I mean, but I have him down here as my wide receiver 49, so he's more of a flex in a 3 wide receiver league. I don't think that's too crazy to kind of where everyone else has been. I do have guys like Alec Pierce, Keon Coleman, Greg Dortch. I had Wan'Dale Robinson ahead of him at 45, but he did way better than that. Even Michael Wilson, Dobbs, Pittman, Lazard, kind of all ahead of D-Hop at the moment. So yeah. So what else do we got here in this game? I think that's pretty much it. So I think that covers Titans at Dolphins. There again, if you have any questions, let me know. If not, we'll finish off here the last game, and then we'll get into that Q&A section. So let's bring up the next banner here, and this is going to be Seahawks coming into the Lions at home, who are favored by 3.5. They're expecting a 46.5 point over under in this game. We have, of course, looks like Sam Laporta. Good news on him. He was practicing full this week, dealing with that low ankle injury. Looks like he'll probably be a go. So that's going to be good news there. Then you have Ken Walker dealing with that oblique injury, missed the last 2 games. He was technically limited, is listed as questionable. Haven't quite heard one way or the other which way he's leaning. As of now, I don't have him as a start. I would have felt more comfortable if he was actually upgraded to a full practice today instead of limited. But I don't think he would need to log a full practice in order to play on Sunday. But with the way that, Charbonnet's been playing and going up against this Detroit defense, who has given up the least amount of points to the running back position at only 8.8, why rush Ken Walker out there if you don't have to? So I would still just ride Charbonnet for one more week and really let Walker heal up. Who else do we have here? My must starts are Gibbs, David Montgomery. You're getting those guys in your lineups. I love Metcalf this week. Even though, Detroit's given up the second most points to the wide receiver position at 44.9. So I do like JSN and Lockett. I couldn't tell you which one, but I think at least one of those guys, if not all 3, could have good games this week. Going up against this secondary, and of course being in a potential shootout with what the offensive Detroit is capable of as well. So again, I think you want a piece of that. You're obviously starting Amon-Ra St. Brown. We're not getting cute here. So make sure he's in your lineups, even though Seattle's given up the second least amount of points, ranked 31st. 19.2 only to the position, again, compared to Detroit's 44. But that's not scaring me off of Amon-Ra St. Brown. But that does have you question, or what do you do with Jameson Williamson? So for him, I still think he's worth starting. I have him as my wide receiver 22. Again, I just think it could be a potential shootout here. And these, cornerbacks, with Seattle, I think they're a little, I think they're, oh, snap. What's up, man? I see you in here. Get in when you're ready. But yeah, so, or are you in here? How come I can hear you even though you're not on there? That's weird.
I'm here.
I heard you even before that, though.
Oh, it's because I got to switch over the microphone. Sorry. There's only 2.
Oh, you're good. You're good. All right, cool. Well, we're just kind of getting in here into this last game. But yeah, I was talking about Jameson Williamson. So what are we doing with him? So again, like I said, I have him as my wide receiver 22. Again, these aren't DVOA stats. It's just who they've played so far. And I just think, JMO can, it only takes one play for him to hit the lineup, and he's been playing pretty consistent. So again, at home in that dome with Jared Goff and them wanting to get a win here to go to 3-1. And because I don't like to see chickens be in first place in our division either, I need the Lions to pull off this win here. So I'm rooting for the Lions in this one as well. So get those nail biters.
We're getting back into it this week, dude. The division's gonna flip flop right here this week. They're going down, and we're gonna get a good win, and it's gonna be trending up.
For sure. I really hope so, man. I really hope so.
So
so the only other guys I have left to kind of talk about this one is are the 2 quarterbacks, Goff and Smith. Since I've been talking this whole time, and if you're ready, I'll throw it over to you, at least for these guys. Where do you got Goff and Geno ranked this week?
I actually like both of them, and obviously in Superflex, you're starting both of them. But I think in single, there's just some guys I don't like this week. So I think you're hoping for points. I was hearing you earlier, like you're hoping for a shootout. There's shootout potential. They're in the dome. I think you can give them both a go. Geno is probably the less strong play. 15 points would be a good day, right? 15 to 18 points, you're satisfied. But I do think Goff can get in the middle of that QB1, back end QB1 if the Lions go for it. I mean, the one thing I like about the Lions, man, we haven't talked about it. They haven't gotten going yet. You know what I mean? Amon-Ra's bounced back. Jameson's had great weeks, but as an offense from an NFL perspective, there's been some good fantasy weeks. But the Lions, for what they can produce, both for fantasy and good football, that's what I'm excited to see. Exactly. Yeah, they haven't. I don't think they've peaked.
Goff hasn't even had really a good game yet.
He hasn't been startable in one quarterback. If it's your only guy, then sure. But if you have 2 quarterbacks, and a lot of people in one quarterback still do that, yeah, he's not been. They're going to get clicking. It's going to be a good week for them. The Seahawks are going down.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost kind of what and I don't think we have this game. I think they had it on part one, the Jacksonville game, and everyone kind of freaking out on ETN. I'm like, the offense hasn't done shit. You called it. You said they're not going to be good. With all that said, like ETN is still RB22. Like maybe he's not the low end RB1 that you drafted him for, but given the escape of the running back position right now, like who are you really trading him, for really, at this point, or who are you trying to really start, over him? I mean, obviously there's certain guys you'll start over, and I actually dropped him a little bit compared to where I kind of normally have him in a certain range every week. But just things like that, it's still only 3 games. Like we have such a limited sample size still. Like it's going to take time for these things to happen. Like other people have to get stats too, especially early in the year. And I think that's where guys like Tyler Algier and the Bijan usage, things like that, where they're not just going to come out of the gate full throttle. Like they're just going to kind of ease people in, especially with all the injuries they're seeing. They're not just going to go give somebody 30 carries, but once the season gets rolling and, we're in here and they start positioning for playoffs and things like that, like that's when the stars are going to emerge. They're going to be fully into the season. And that's when we're going to see these points just start, I think, piling on. So at least that's what I'm hoping for, at least as a fantasy football player.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all are. At the end of the day, it takes time. Like, I mean, we talk about it sometimes too. Like we've even mentioned it on this show, but like these first couple weeks, a lot of these guys don't play in preseason.
Right.
Like they're slow starters. You got to get them time. Like everyone's the same kind of thing we were talking about last week with the Bengals, right? Like Joe Burrow, everyone's panicking on Joe Burrow. Everyone's panicking on Jamar Chase. They played fucking awesome last weekend. They did exactly what you drafted them to do. They were top producers at each of their respective positions. And I love T. Higgins this week. I'm in on T. Higgins this week. I think this is the Bengals season. So I think they go on the road and win this game. So hey, you just got to give something. My point being is like all these, no, 100%. No, they have to. Zach Taylor's going to be looking for a job, man. He's going to find at Starbucks.
He might even fly and not even make it back on the plane home. Like he might have to be on Southwest with me.
Yeah, that's not where you're. Yeah, at least they let you pick your own seat though. So you got that. Get in line early.
Get that boarding pass, and checking those free 2 bags.
But yeah, I just think from like a fantasy perspective, for sure. I just think from a fantasy perspective, though, like you've got to have some patience. My buddy's texting me this week. He's like, Anthony Richardson sucks. And I was like, maybe he does. Or maybe he's just going to be that guy that gets you massive spike weeks. And unfortunately, the floor is still pretty low. Like it's not consistent. You're not getting those consistency of the massive spike weeks, but you can still get. Anyway, I think you got to give these guys some time to just get themselves fit, get themselves up to speed, get going, and then you're absolutely right, Rasta. We're going to see some good weeks ahead for the top guys that we all drafted.
Right, and we're already starting to see sputters of it now, and so that's what's even more exciting, because again, sometimes you don't want the guy that gets off to the crazy good start and then they kind of tail off, at the end. You like those guys that are catching fire, at the end, and it always happens, right? It always happens. So. Yeah, and that's why you got to seek out those trades. When we were saying go get Chase, your window's going to close, especially before that Washington game, and then now he's literally untradeable.
If we have time, I know we got a bunch of questions and stuff to get to, but I want to. Speaking of Etienne, I wanted to get to my own trade question, so maybe we'll do it off camera. But I think if we can do it for the folks to be good. Oh, you want to do it right now?
Yeah, let's go. I'm in Q&A section. Let's do it.
Travis Etienne. There is a guy in our league, and I'll just tell you this. I don't care that you're in the league. It's fine. Yeah, he's panicking. He's got Etienne on the block. I know this offer won't get done, but I at least thought it would be a basis of like how far off and what needs to be added. So I had Jalen Warren and Khalil Shakir for Travis Etienne. I would rather have the Etienne side. So I don't expect this will get done. But as a starting offer, let's say you're the Etienne owner. Awesome. Appreciate you, Patrick.
Appreciate
Mafia.
you,
That's
Patrick.
Awesome, brother. I'll grab my link.
And we're going to get to your questions here, man. We're getting to them. I promise we'll get to it. Go ahead.
So I assume you want, because you and I almost always think alike. I assume that you want the Etienne side. I do too. So what's missing is my question. And guys, if you're in the chat, throw this in there. So Travis Etienne in a dynasty league. In a dynasty league, Travis Etienne, really quick. It is a single quarterback league, 2 running backs, triple, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and a triple flex.
Yeah.
So it's a deeper league. So I've offered Khalil Shakir and Jalen Warren for Travis Etienne. I know that's not going to get it done. So guys in the chat, throw the piece that you think is missing, and then Rasta, obviously we'll talk it out. What's missing from that to make that where you'd really consider moving? Is it the pieces? Is it not enough pieces? Like, what's your initial
I
thoughts?
mean, Warren's injury and lack of usage, I think, is what's bringing his value down, because you and I were
100%.
both pretty high on Warren during the draft process. I started shifting towards Spears kind of later on, just because I wasn't really feeling the Pittsburgh offense. I mean, Tennessee wasn't a great one to hitch my, anyway, but I figured at least if he'd be the passing games back, and really it was Arthur Smith that really made that decision for me a lot easier, because I just all last year as a Bijan owner, I was like, I just don't want anything to do with Arthur Smith, so why put myself through that torture again this year? So I think maybe they're like, again, that's my mindset, right? So if that's my mindset for Warren, I could see why that might not get it done. I personally like Shakir. So like if you had to add a piece in there, like the problem is it's Dynasty, because I think in redraft it's a little easier. You can add someone like Connor, someone like that I think that would, make that happen. But yeah, in Dynasty it's a little tougher, because like what do you value at? So is this guy contending, or is he trying to rebuild? Like what would you consider his team as? I mean, I know in the same league, but I'm not looking at it right now.
No, I don't care. I don't care about all that. It's a 10-team league. I forgot to mention that as well. Like, and I know people are like, oh, okay, like some of these details are massively important, like single quarterback, the scoring format. It's also 6-point, which also does make a difference. Look, it's 3 weeks into the season. We just had the startup draft this year. Right. He's 1-2. I'm 2-1. We do play each other this week. So, I mean, if a trade does get done, it's probably not. Yeah, it's like he probably doesn't want to play against Etienne this week just in case, right? Yeah. But the risk then is like if he gooses again, or like he doesn't perform again, then can I get him? So like basically I'm trying to see if I can just get him on the cheap, because I've been on record many times as to say, and you just mentioned it, I don't think the Jaguars are very good. I called it very early on in the preseason. I said they're not going to be good. Stay away. So I'm not dying to get this trade done. I'm not going to overpay. But you mentioned a different piece. I really only have Montgomery.
I was going to say, and that might be it. I know your love for Benson. That might get it done in that league, but then you'd have to almost kind of forego that and say I'm going with ETN, right? Which because you're kind of getting someone like that. And I think ETN has a nice floor as the passing game's back. So you almost like that they're playing bad, quote unquote, because if they were ahead, they'd probably sit ETN and it'd be the Tank Bigsby. So you almost want them to still be a little bad, which still benefited ETN, who I think had like 5 catches or something like that in the last game, which in full PPR, that's, what you're looking for. It may not be a 100-yard a game rusher in 15 to 20 carries, but I think 13 to 15 carries and, 3 to 5 catches a game, like that's just a solid RB2, right? Like, and he'll have weekly upside to, if he scores a rushing and passing touchdown, he's going to finish it as an RB1. So I like those kind of guys. So to me, if I was trying to contend, I would probably go Benson and Shakir to get ETN personally. Looking at your team, I mean, I really think he'd have to be really high on some of these other guys, unless I do see you have an interesting piece down here on the bench named who? Andrews?
Yep.
Do you flip Andrews straight up for ETN instead?
I mean, I haven't thought, let me put it this way. I have thought about it. I haven't thought enough about it to make that move yet, which is why I started here. Cause I'm like, it's one of those times where you're like, okay, I know this probably gets it done, but like, I don't know if I want you to hit accept yet. So I'm just not going to send it yet. Let me make sure, just in case you're like, oh yeah, and smash. I don't want you smashing that. I do want to say this quickly. I know we got a ton of questions. And then I just want to end with this on this topic. I do love Benson, but we haven't seen enough yet. So like if I give him up, I have him in enough other places. I have good exposure in my other dynasty leagues to him. So if he has success, I'll enjoy that. But like, I think I'd be okay giving that up to get Etienne as my RB1 and Montgomery as my RB2, because I don't have any other running backs in this team. I do have Drake London, I have Jaden Reed, I have Malik Neighbors as my 3 starting wide receivers. So I have good pieces. Right. I mean, you know how I build. I always build this way. But
in Dynasty, you have to build about them.
But I just think at the end of it all, it would be good to. I hope they have a bad week, because I think his price goes down and I can probably get him for something cheap. So, and I do believe in him. I think the problem with the Jaguars is the receiving core, and we don't know if Trevor Lawrence is actually that good. So, but I think Etienne is a piece you can build around. They're clearly building around Lawrence because they paid him. Yeah. So are you going to pay?
He's still fairly young, and remember, he missed his entire rookie year with the Liz Frank, so he doesn't have that wear and tear on him. So you almost get an extra year out of him if you want to kind of look at it that way.
Well, and he still has another 2 on the rookie, right?
on the contract. Yeah,
he has one more in the 5th year.
I think he'll be like eligible for the extension next year, right?
Well, because he was the
pick up their
first,
fifth.
he was the first rounder, so he gets the 5th year.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, good stuff. No, I like talking that out with you. Always good. But let's fire up some questions, man. So I'll fire these to you. I've been talking all night, so I'll try to drop my quick take, but you can take it here and get your fix in, because I know how it is, man. You got to get that fix in. Although you did do 2 shows this week. Shout out to the extra point, man. Make sure you guys are watching Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 3 days in a row. That's good stuff. That's more than me, man. You're putting it.
And
down.
I threw my link in the chat, so jump in there, subscribe to that. So obviously, a big part of this. Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's get some questions in here. You ready?
All right. So from George, we'll try to rapid fire as much as possible, and then of course, if something derails us, we'll go from there. Should I drop Keon Coleman for Michael Pittman Jr.? What kind of league is this? I think George plays in like a 10-team league. Like if these guys are just even on the wire, like
well, that's what I mean. There's no way these guys they're available. Might be an 8-team league. No, actually, I wouldn't.
I think. Oh no, that's George LeBron. That's another George. He does play in an 8-team league, and he asks us a ton of questions. But go ahead.
I mean, look, at the end of it all, Anthony Richardson's a turnover machine right now. He's playing poorly. I understand his ceiling is the moon, but he's not playing well, which means Pittman's not playing well. Pittman hasn't scored a touchdown yet, and the only problem with Coleman, the 2 obvious problems. Let's just get the goose egg out of the room. That was atrocious, but it's inconsistency. But that's the way Buffalo is. The only consistency is Josh Allen. So.
And not even him. Remember, he had an 11-point game.
He had a stinky week 2. I think he had it. But you know what? To be fair, that game was a complete mess before Tua got hurt, and it was over the minute Tua got hurt. And Cook had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
and that's what we talked about all summer. It's like, well, if Cook's going to score more touchdowns this season, it means Allen's going to either score less or like not throw them. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, the question: no, you can't play Michael Pittman. I don't think you can start Michael Pittman right now. So no, I would keep Coleman and just deal with some of the inconsistency. Sucks, but it's like Jameson. The spike weeks are good. There's touchdowns in there.
Yeah, I'd rather take the unknown with all the information we do have on Pittman in that situation. So,
I mean, Neighbors is wide receiver 1 right now as a rookie. Again, you got another impact player. Coleman could finish as a wide receiver 2 this season. He really could.
Could be this year's Amon-Ra St. Brown or Christian Watson. You never know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Especially with who he's attached to. And I think that's the thing. It's who he's attached to and the opportunity. There is no one there.
And if Richardson, look, Pittman's been paid. If Richardson starts showing consistency and turns it around, then there's a different question. But right now, Coleman. All right. Yeah.
For sure. All right, let's do it. Michael Lopez says 12-team PPR. Love when you guys tell us league size and scoring. He says pick 3, London, Chase, Addison, McConkey, Odunze. Is it Odunes or Odunze? Because our boy, Kendall, the Bears fan, calls him Odunes. So I don't know if that's just like a nickname for him or if that's how you pronounce it. But either way, Odunze, Shaheed, thanks in advance. So pick 3 out of those guys. So Chase for sure, right?
Yeah.
So that's no question. Shaheed, I do have high with Olave being out. I don't know how out of tune you've been to your news, depending on what you were doing here this afternoon. But Olave out, pulled up with the hamstring. Well, most likely out, not officially.
Yeah, I saw. You guys threw it in the group chat, so I was like,
oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, you're like, damn it. So then it comes down to. So for me, I think I'm gonna go. I'll just go quick. I'm gonna go Chase, London, and Shaheed, even though Addison's right there for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's Addison's first week's back, and Shaheed's, again, we talk about all the time. Like, if he catches 2 of the big, long Derek touchdown bombs,
right?
When I say Derek Carr, I don't know what I just said, but Derek Carr bombs, there's your week. So, yeah, I'm with you on that.
All right, there we go. I appreciate it, Michael. Hopefully you like and subscribe for us, man. We got full PPR. He's looking to flex one of these guys, Michael Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, or Tajay Spears, who we were just chatting about. So Michael Wilson against Washington, Jerry Jeudy against is it Vegas, right?
Yeah, Cleveland,
and
Vegas. Yeah.
Tajay Spears against who we were just talking about,
Tennessee, Miami on Monday night.
Yep.
My answer is actually Michael Wilson.
Me too.
I think there's points in this game, and Trey McBride is out with a concussion, so I expect an uptick in work for the receivers and James Conner, and maybe we're seeing how the game goes, maybe a little bit of Trey Benson mixed in. So yes, my answer is Michael Wilson here.
I have him as my wide receiver 42, but compared to where he usually is, that's really high.
Yes, but I think this is, if you needed somebody that we haven't, bye weeks haven't started, but if you need someone this week, this is a good option. I'm starting him this week. I'm flexing him in a league this week because I like the upside and I need a guy.
Exactly. Absolutely. Well said. All right, we'll move on. Purdy or Stroud in the Guillotine League, Rasta. I'll let Phil throw this over.
I think Stroud's going to sling it again this week. No Joe Mixon, no Damian Pierce. You've got Cam Akers in there. I know there's some question marks with Nico's got some hamstring. Tank's got some question marks, but
He said he's cleared and good to go with Collins, but
so
you never know.
Yeah, exactly. You could always flare up one injury. It doesn't matter. Point being is, I think they're going to throw the ball. I know I said that last week and obviously just didn't go well, but the process was right. The game script should have been there for him. Some games just get away from you, but yeah, that's I'm going to go Stroud.
Yeah. Same thing. Jags have been up the third most points to the quarterback position, averaging 25.1. So I'll definitely take Stroud here. I have him as actually my QB4 this week, but I do have Purdy as my QB10. And I mentioned during our San Francisco segment there, which I sad that you missed out on, but I did apologize profusely to the bow downness I needed to have for Purdy and lack of respect for him to be able to throw and have a nice fantasy day without all his weapons. So so I did pay my respects there. All right, so moving on here, we got Isaac in here. I think he's a new guy. I don't think I've seen his name before. Told him I'd get to his question earlier. He says, should I start Pickens or Diggs this week?
I actually like Diggs this week. I think, like you just said, Stroud's your QB4. I think they throw it this week. No Mixon again, no Pierce. So, Akers is fine, but hey?
No Tank Dell. Tank Dell ruled out with the chest and ribs injury.
There you go. So I like Diggs this week.
All day.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Joe's here. You want to read this one?
Yeah, Joe's saying, how sad is the state of the NFL right now, where the game I most look forward to is Red Rocket Revenge game, Cincy and Carolina. Well said. Sir. Good question. Yeah, actually, I think it's the second highest game total on the slate, is it not? It started the week that way. I don't know if the betting lines have moved since Thursday, but that's how it started.
A lot of them actually have moved because of all this injury, like especially with a lot of them. Like when I was making the banners, they're all different from what I actually show on the show sheet, which I made like 6 hours ago. But where are we at? What do we say? The Cincy Carolina game?
Cincy Carolina. I think it's the second highest over under on the week. That's how the betting lines opened.
Oh, at 47.5, it's sitting at right now. And we have Commanders Cardinals at 49. And yep, it is the second most.
Let's go. Yeah.
46.5 Seahawks Lions. Yeah,
I think it's I don't know if I think it's sad because the names aren't sexy.
Chase and Burrow.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So like the names aren't sexy, but like the players, there could be goodness here. There should be goodness here.
Defense is trash. It's like the best thing that could have happened to.
That's exactly what you want. You want a shitty defense and a big time offense. And look, I don't know what Carolina is. Like, are they good? Are they not? Like, what is the second game going to be for the Red Rocket here?
Are they just in a honeymoon phase? That just Bryce not being there, they just played out of their mind.
Like they're still the Panthers. Like let's not get away from the question. They're still the Panthers.
We're gonna find out. Like, are they for real? Like, or was it really truly just Bryce not having any confidence?
The best thing that can happen is for Brooks to come back next week and just start working his way in. And by week 8, he's just fucking crushing it. Give him a month to get ready. Like those are his preseason games.
So excited.
Like, sorry, really quick before we go to the next question. This running back class is exactly what we thought it was. It is poo-poo. Like he's the only one we haven't seen really yet that we're like, okay. Yeah. Because right now, Braylon Allen is the RB.
I was literally just about to say the only one that looks legit is Allen. And almost like to the point where even with literally like the RB3 overall or 2 really now without McCaffrey being in the picture, even I'm like, he's losing work to him. Like that's crazy to me. So it's interesting. Although I feel like it's actually opening up them to use Brees in the passing game a lot more, and of course he's leading the league in targets this year. So
I said on my Thursday show last week, I said I took the Brees Hall higher on 5.5 targets. He got 5 targets. I just needed one. So the process was right. We just missed the bet, but it was 100%. I think
5.5 is a lot. That's a lot.
I know.
That's like an 80 target. Yeah, that's like an 80 target pace. Yeah.
But like that's how it's early, but I do think if Allen continues on this pace and develops, they become a poor man's Gibbs and Monty. You know what I mean? Like I think they can both coexist. I think there is a role for them. So anyway, let's move on. But
good stuff.
It's possible.
85. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I knew it was up there.
Yeah.
Quick calculation. All right. I don't know why I need to pull out a calculator.
Calculators help,
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff. All right. So we'll move on here. It wasn't even so much of a question, but a topic that we got to discuss there. So really appreciate that, Joe. Those are just as fun as questions. So here we go. 10 team full PPR. Again, love it. Team and scoring type as PPR QB start Lamar, CJ, or Rodgers. He says he's leaning CJ. What about you?
I think I lean that way too. I think there's two sides. Like, I know there's two sides to every coin. That's a stupid sentence, but just hear me out for 10 seconds. I can see a path where the Bills just blow them out. I can also see a path where it's a lower scoring game and competitive and Lamar has to run, but I still lean CJ. I just think if you're considering Lamar, you need to consider what you believe is the most likely outcome in the game. And then kind of figure out, like, is this a game where he's going to be chasing points, or is this a game where it's, again, low volume and passing, but like he just gets there on the ground? So I still would take the safety of CJ.
Back at this point.
Yeah. Or like I said, or the game's just, they get blown out because their defense sucks right now and the Bills are scoring points in bunches. They just dismantle the Jaguars. I know the Jaguars are bad, but you know what Josh Allen's capable of. So it's like, if it's 20, I mean, Ross, if it's 24-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
And the Bills get another field goal or touchdown, like, Lamar's not playing in the fourth quarter.
I don't know. I don't think he would take himself out, especially against that team.
I don't know,
especially after all the talking about how he didn't want to, like, how he was talking all about how people need to step up or need to give it their all and all that. I don't see him coming out of the game that early. There's no way. Especially since he's going to play.
Yeah. It's CJ.
Fantasy teams.
The answer is CJ. We do need to. I don't know if we talked about it, but at some point this week we should text about it because I'm on the panic alarm with Mark Andrews right now. If I don't see it this week,
yeah, it is getting a little close.
It's not like bail out of ship, but it's like we're taking on water here. It's not good.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Yeah, definitely bringing it on. For me, I mean, I literally have them back to back. Lamar and Stroud. I was going back and forth as 5 and 6. I did lean Jackson just right ahead at 5. Just because, again, the guy can throw freaking 15 attempts and still score 25 fantasy points. So that was the make or break for me. Whereas, CJ Stroud, he could throw 36 passes, throw for 261 and a touchdown, and still only score 14.3 fantasy points. So I have to.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. It's
good stuff. All right. So the only thing we agreed on is definitely not Rodgers. Not when you have those two options. So,
but I do think it's a good week for Conklin.
Yeah, I actually, on my big bride teams, boom, it was.
Yeah, I like Conklin this week. Again, Pat Surtain shutting down what we believe is going to be on Garrett Wilson. I like Conklin a lot.
Right.
And Brees.
For sure. Myers, Shakir, Kirk, or Waddle. I assume pick one or maybe just rank them. These are Myers with no Adams. Shakir's been very solid. I think I don't think he's dropped it. I mean, he had an 87 or 90% catch rate last year, and literally has not dropped a pass this year. Or incomplete. Yeah.
I have Shakir 1 actually. I think I have him in reverse order. Really, just the first 2. I have Shakir, Myers, Kirk, and Waddle. As much as it's so hard, and you just can't trust Waddle right now. Is it Tyler Huntley that's starting officially? Have they said?
I have no idea. They're still all questionable. Thompson, the Monday nights, we're not getting any decision until tomorrow at the earliest.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like if you can find something that you believe, like you got to depress Waddle's value, and if you find something you can get closer to that, I just don't want to have to depend on Waddle on Monday night when I might need, you know what I mean? Like I'd rather just get my points on Sunday, because if I lose on Sunday, I lose on Monday. You know what I mean? Like if it's over, it's over. But I just don't want to have like depend on. It's just too risky with that quarterback situation right now.
Yeah. I'm Shakir, Kirk, Miles, Waddle. Just because you guys know my thoughts on Raiders even without Adams and
And they might make a change of quarterback. My Jaguars bias got me there because I'm just so down on them.
There you go. And my Raiders bias got me there because I'm so down on them. Too funny. See, that's how we do it, man. That's our process. Right. JMO or Worthy? Ooh, that's a good question. I'll take JMO in this one.
I'll take JMO.
All right, there we go. I just think he isn't as dependent like Worthy is on that big play, big splash play. He's almost looking more like a complete receiver. Not quite there yet, but definitely of like the progression that I've seen this year compared to last year for sure.
He's
Quickly,
valuable.
yeah, for sure. I actually think I have him fairly high this week, actually. 23. So yeah, I have him as a low end too. Thoughts on the Titans D? I think they're awesome.
Play him. I'm
Yeah.
playing him this week. I just picked
Yeah.
him up in my only league that has DSTs, and I just picked him up because I just said it. You can't trust Miami, and who knows who the quarterback is. So yeah, get after it.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely got them streamed as well. Ayuk or Pickens? He feels like the Niners win this. And we get Brock Purdy 225, 1 touchdown game, and 30 Mason carries. Oh, I would love that.
It'd be great. I'm still going to take Ayuk. I'm not going to worry about it. I think Jawan Jennings, whatever, 11 for 12 for what is it, 17? What was it? Some stupid number, 177. Is that right?
175 and 3
75
touchdowns.
and 3. Yeah, the 3 I
Yeah.
remembered. But anyway, point being, Ayuk's due. Debo's out again this week. He's not playing. McCaffrey's obviously out. So I still take Ayuk. I think Patriots are tough, but it's a different. I think Shanahan's got a. We're good this week, man. We're good.
Yeah, I had him as 10. I actually just going to put Godwin in front of him. I think I did this ranking before I got the Kittle news. I hadn't updated it yet. So I think I'm going to get Godwin, just ahead going up against that Philly secondary. After that, I have guys like Mike Evans also going against that Philly defense.
Mhm.
And then Garrett Wilson, who's going to be shadowed, by Pat Surtain. Then I got Deontay Johnson, who I like this week against Cincy. DJ Moore, Cooper. Like, I still don't have Ayuk behind those guys. So I don't know how, but I still have him as wide receiver 11. Like, that's a must start guy. Like, he has to come around here soon. Again, talk about not getting preseason in. So
not going to be like,
not
even
going to get started on that. All right, we'll move on.
Let's go.
All right, Najee versus Indy. Ooh, love this, man. RGQ. Hopefully hit that subscribe for us. I love when you put the matchups in there. Makes it real easy. Najee versus Indy or Chuba versus Cincinnati. Give me the Chuba train.
Yeah, I was going to say Najee's a plotter, and it's even though Warren's out, like, yeah, I'll take Chuba.
Absolutely.
I hope that there's more in Panthers than, you know what I mean, like a 1 week explosion, because this game should have, if this game has points, it's going to be a fun game.
Right.
Because Chase and Burrow, I know that's your investment. I've got a lot of investment there too, but like, it's just fun when the better players are good. Like, let's do it.
And putting up points. Yeah.
Yeah. Come
for
on,
sure.
Panthers.
For sure.
Come on, Bengals. Give us a shootout.
For sure. Digfi, appreciate you coming out, man. Hopefully hit that subscribe button for us. Told you we get your question here. That was him that actually asked the Ayuk or Pickens question too. Apologize for not getting the name drop in there, but there you go. Pickens breakout. Is he poised for one here soon? And or will it happen this week specifically?
Just trying to look up some of Fields' passing metrics. Give me 1 second. That's how I want to answer this.
No problem. I have right now Pickens as my wide receiver 29, so I have him as a third wide receiver or a flex in a 2 wide receiver league. Going up against Indy, their defense can be had. Are they big plays acceptable? They've given up 40 points to the wide receiver position. I mean, it could happen. If there's a week, it could happen. What are you thinking?
I just think he's getting, I'm looking at the metrics right now. I think that 156, 117, 245 last week. That's his passing yardage totals. So it's just not a high volume, obviously, if it's getting spread out plus the carries. He's only throwing it 20. Yeah, he's throwing it about 25, 26 times a game. So, but Pickens only needs 3 plays. So it's kind of boom bust. You know what I mean? Like, you got to if you want to play him, you've just got to live with the reality that if it's not a breakout, you're probably getting 3 for 36. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be a monster, but he only needs 3 plays to go 3 for 89 and 2. And there's your week. So,
right. Here's my saving grace on that.
Not great. I would play him against Dallas. Sorry, really quickly.
No, go ahead.
You watched that Thursday game, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Sadly,
Micah Parsons is out.
Those referees were awesome. They did such a good job. That's all I remember from the game is the referees.
The game was
go ahead.
Chaos. But look, Micah Parsons is out. Diggs walked. Yes. I mean, like they lost some guys, and they're
Lawrence
just not.
Lawrence is out. Yeah,
Lawrence is out. So I don't know if it's going to be this week at Indy. It could be, but if you're thinking about Pickens, look next week at Dallas, and I think take a shot. If it can't happen there, take a shot.
Then you might know what it is. Yeah. Something that has me encouraged. Yeah. Something that has me encouraged is when he what am I trying to say? This Indy defense has given up 100-yard receiver 2 out of the last 3 games. Obviously, there's only been 3 games. They gave up 112 and a touchdown to Roma Dunze just last week. And so if he can do that, I would assume Pickens should be able to do that. Green Bay, when they played him the week before, they didn't have a 100-yard receiver. Obviously, didn't have Jordan Love either, so take that with a grain of salt with Malik Willis. But week 1, when they played Houston, you had Nico Collins go for 117 against them on 6 for 8. So, they are going to be susceptible to some yardage. So, hopefully, again, I don't mind starting Pickens this week at all.
No, give it this week and give it next week and see how it goes. Next week is your barometer.
For sure. All right, so we got him asking another question here. Again, we love it, man. Keep the questions coming. Geno or Fields? Almost kind of staying in the same lane.
I understand the rushing upside of Fields, but I think
he's
Detroit's
not rushing
offense,
this year, though.
And that's what I was just going to say. That's why I said the rushing upside is like, no, you're good. But like, I think the line we just talked about it, when we were talking about the Lions a little bit ago, like, I think the Lions can fix this offense, and I wouldn't say broken, but like they can get it going, they can get it humming, and they're at home Monday night. We know what they're capable of, and if they explode, then I think Geno's got to play catch up. So give me Geno this week. I think there's more points. I think there's more points in that game.
I'm pretty sure I have Geno ahead of him. I just want to look at something here really quick. Geno has 11 carries for 36 yards and a touchdown on the year so far. Fields has 28 carries, so he's carrying it more, but only 90 yards and still has a touchdown. But you'd say for him, like that's nothing. 90 yards in 3 games, that's 30 a game. Like he was easily a 50 to 60 yard a game guy in Chicago. So I've actually liked what I've seen.
What's the line on that game? Do you have it in front of you?
Yeah,
here it is.
For
40.
For which one? Detroit, Seattle?
No, sorry, for the Steelers Colts game.
Oh, Steelers Colts. Yeah, I have it at 40. Pittsburgh favored by 2.
Yeah, I don't think it hits the under because that's really low scoring, but I think it's close.
Yeah, I mean this Steelers defense is just nasty,
and the Colts offense is awful right now, anemic. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think Geno. I think there's points in that. I just don't think I could see this Steelers Colts game being very few touchdowns.
There we go. All right, yeah, I have Geno ahead too. I'm pretty sure I do. Let me catch it, but we'll move on. I'll answer it in the next one. Najee versus Indy or Chuba versus Cincy? Did we already do that one? Did I?
Yeah, do that. Chuba.
Okay, my bad. I double started. Let's see. Pick in the breakout. We did that. Here we go. We're down to Patrick here. Patrick's. Oh snap! We have 28 live comments. I hope I did not miss a super chat in that. All right.
Okay. A lot of them because I posted the stuff and came out.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, that's cool. That's what happened last time. We had like 35 new live chats when I was in the starred comments, and we had a couple super chats in there, and I felt terrible. So again, you guys can always send us a super chat and go right to the top of the line. If not, we're going to try to get through as many as we can, probably for the next 15 minutes or so. And then we'll get out of here because it is already kind of late. We started late already. But yeah, Patrick says, and again, Patrick, new subscriber. We saw him say he subscribed, I think a few comments after this one. Pick 2 of 5 non-PPR. Ramondre Stevenson, Higgins, Myers, Shakir, Shaheed, and also wants to know our thoughts on Rachaad White. So give me 2 in non-PPR.
I mean, you have to take Stevenson just because of the touchdown upside, because that's the only thing that counts. So Stevenson there.
And then who's going to score a touchdown out of Redis?
I like Higgins this week. I told you that already. I'm in on Higgins this week with Burrow in that game environment. So yeah, that's
me
where
too.
I go. Yeah.
Quick take on Rachaad White.
Again, touchdown. So that's the potential. His pass catching volume should keep him relevant. And Bucky's going to miss this week. So I think that's important to remember as well. If you have a strong conviction and you really want to go with the 2 running backs for a goal line carry, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, not technically ruled out yet, but it's not looking good. He's listed as questionable, but yeah, he's probably most likely going to be ruled out.
Did he? Sorry, I didn't look. He didn't practice yesterday. Did he practice today?
I think he was limited today. Play against the Eagles. He's trending towards. It appears he's trending towards suiting up. It says White will be the primary beneficiary in the off chance that Irving is out. So
if Bucky doesn't play,
yeah,
I would go Higgins. I would just go Higgins and Stevenson
for sure. Yeah, it's not a serious issue for the rookie. He's previously told reporters that he expects to play. Yeah, so it's looking like he's on the easy side.
Plays is what I realized I said that backwards. If he plays, then I would do Stevenson and Higgins.
I think we're good. All right, awesome. So there we go. Appreciate it, Patrick. Keep them coming. Falcons versus Saints. Who we got?
I took the Saints in my weekly picks this week.
There you go. I'll probably go Saints on that one too. Although I just hope it's a good game, man. Hope it's a good game.
The Falcons are one busted play from being 0-3.
Yeah. They really are. One just off the fingertips. Yep. Am I safe to start Daniels over Stroud until Stroud proves to be better? Not this week. I know, Perry, you're a Giants fan. There's no way I'm starting Daniel Jones. Oh, no, he means Jaden Daniels. Okay. At first, I was like about to have a heart attack. I was like, I know he's a Giants fan, but I know even he's not that crazy. So Jaden Daniels or Stroud? That's an interesting decision. Daniels has been looking to play well, but I mean, we saw a whole season of what Stroud is able to do and what he's capable of. I think he's a much easier, just kind of set it and forget it start. Maybe he doesn't have the complete ceiling that Jaden has because of the rushing. But I think he, again, with the weapons and how that offense is set up, I mean, he just, to me, is always going to be probably a top 10, top 8 type guy every week for the most part.
Yeah, I think if you really believe that Arizona-Washington game is going to pop off, then I think you start Daniels, because you have to believe that that's where the points are coming from, is the rushing production and the touchdowns. I could see the Texans blowing out the Jaguars, and then Stroud's not doing much, but I still would start Stroud. I want to see 2 weeks of Daniels. It's exciting, man. This is funny, the comparisons, because they're already saying, is he this year's CJ Stroud? And it's only week 3, but he's been way better than Caleb.
Right.
Way better.
That's for sure. Yeah. Fantasy and in real life, it seems.
That's what I mean. Yeah. From a real life perspective, he's been better.
Absolutely. All right. So let's get to it here. What else we got? I think those are all that I had. Let me go back to the regular chat. Yeah, go ahead.
So Garrett Wilson, Ayuk, Pickens, T. Higgins, pick 2. I'll go mine's real quick. Ayuk and Higgins is pretty easy for me because I do believe Pat Surtain's going to shut down Wilson.
Yeah, I'm there with you too.
Yeah, right on.
Thoughts on Laporta? Says he's good to go. Low ankle sprain. Probably just tape it up. You got to tape it up.
I mean, the problem is that's who you drafted, so you have to play him. Yeah. And if it is not a good yardage day, hope he gets a touchdown.
You're not starting Tyler Conklin over Laporta. You're just not.
No.
You have to be. I mean, maybe you want to try to get crazy in DFS or do something crazy like that. But yeah, your season long, you got to just start your stud man there. Drop auto for Shakir. Oh, I think we.
Well, I just want to say
this is. I think this is a different person asking almost the very same question. Drop auto for Shakir. I think the other one was drop Shakir for Pittman. Or what? No, was it Waddle for Pittman?
That was Coleman for.
Oh, Coleman for
somebody else. Yeah, Coleman for.
Okay. Totally off then. Waddle for Shakir.
Here's what I would actually do. I would go see if you have an IR spot and a player that qualifies for IR, and pick up Shakir off the wire, assuming that Shakir is coming off the wire, is what I was asking. So then I would pick up Shakir off the wire and keep both of them. I don't know that I'm just ready to drop Waddle straight up for Shakir yet, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And maybe that's game bias.
Yeah. Maybe if you're going to do this like immediately in the aftermath of Tua, then like maybe I can understand it. But like you've already waited a couple weeks. Like Tua is going to be back in like 8 days, eligible to start practicing again. So, it's going to be this game all next week. And then after the next game, now he'll be eligible for that next game after that. So, like I'd just write it out at this point and hold. And yeah, like you said, just kind of see what you can do. If you have somebody else you can drop. But yeah, I'm not quite ready to drop Waddle either.
Yeah, go put somebody in your IR slot and pick him up for free, and then figure out your roster later.
That would be
hopefully you're the Joe Mixon owner. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
Yeah, someone who's just questionable and then got ruled out, then boom, drop them in there.
Exactly.
Some leagues though, they have to actually be on IR to go in your IR, not just.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I was gonna say, just say like Devonta Smith's out this week. Like you could go put him in your. Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right.
Yeah. So, does that change your answer if you can't utilize your IR spot that way? You're still holding Waddle?
I would still hold Waddle. Yeah. I just like you made the perfect point. You've already waited this long. What's another week or two?
Right. And I think they're ceiling Waddle still higher if Tua is back. So correct. I mean, it could come back. We don't have a crystal ball, but
that motherfucker a Guardian helmet. I know it's not cool, but like if you
there's several people wearing them this year, and you can't even really tell.
I know. I saw that. I mean, one of the defensive guys in Detroit was wearing one the other day. I saw, and I was like, all right, okay. But yeah,
it'll be
like
normal
just
here.
like I just
gotta
don't
do
want
it.
to have, I don't want to watch a news story in X number of years. You know what I mean? I was like,
Right.
he's a good person. He's a good dude. Like, let's
Yeah.
let him. He's been paid his money. Let's try to protect him and get on with it. Anyway.
Yeah. Joe just quickly said he plays in a couple of A-teamers with special scoring, and it is tough. I think those leagues are actually harder than the other leagues because you can find different advantages when you're starting like lesser people, when it's all high-end guys. It's so hard because all of them are must starts. So you're trying to decide between the elite of the elite. I wanted to, when I first did this podcast, I wanted to actually have a dedicated like segment or show for like those elite teams when you're having to decide. Because again, when we do our start sit, we're like, these guys you're going to start them regardless, right? But like, for those specialty leagues like guillotine leagues or, stuff like that, where you have these options between these stacked teams, like how do you literally try to project those high end, guys? So that'd be an interesting show concept we'll have to maybe play around with.
I'm down for that.
Maybe
The
when we
margins,
do
man.
our members only, when we roll out our members only, if you're in a membership, maybe that'll be our extra content for those.
That'll be our
those
Patreon
tough
episode of
decisions.
the week.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. So we'll roll that
go.
out later. All right.
Let's
So
go.
let's see. I haven't, these might not be questions. I'm kind of just pulling them up. Are you,
I got you on here.
Oh, perfect. Then go ahead. Take over whenever.
Right. Superflex pick 2. If Love plays, I wanted to talk about this. I'm glad this question was in here.
Good,
Love,
good.
Rodgers, Williams. It's an interesting quarterback room.
Yeah. If Love plays, he's by far the one for me. And then I think I'd go Rodgers against Denver, even though Pat Surtain will shut down Wilson. He'll find Lazard. He'll find Brees. Like he should still have a decent
He'll
day.
find Conklin. Yep.
Yeah, he'll find Conklin. And yeah, Caleb, I like to see the 360. But I still, when you have these other options, it's easy to just kind of sit him for now and just let him continue to build.
Yeah, I'm in the same too.
All right. Kind of rolling into that. Thoughts on Keenan Allen this week?
Not yet. I need to see it first.
Yeah.
And it's not just the heel, it's Caleb.
Yeah.
It's both of them. I need to see both. I need to believe that he's good to go and Caleb can get him there.
Right. I mean, he did see 12 targets like the first game.
Yeah.
So
but it's a whole new world, man.
11, but only caught 4 of them for 29 yards. So it tells you he was probably hurt right there. So
yeah,
dude's an excellent route runner, but he has to be right. All right. Also on the Kim Coleman thing, he said Brady just not good enough. He's at least okay. Good stuff.
Here we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Start Sam Darnold if Hurts if Brown. Oh, I see. Sorry. Start Sam Darnold or Jalen Hurts if AJ Brown is out. I'm not sure I understand the reasoning behind the Brown part. Did I miss something?
AJ Brown is questionable right now.
No, I know that.
Devonta Smith is completely out. So he's saying if Brown is also out and it's only like Goddard and Dotson, does he start Sam Darnold or Hurts?
Hurts.
Even with those guys missing, with just Goddard,
he'll run
Saquon
and he has Barkley, and Goddard's like the tight end 2 or something on the season, isn't he? I mean, like I still would take that because look, Sam Darnold's been fine, but like there's a divisional game, it's on the road. I know Hurts is going down to Tampa Bay to play the Bucs, but I don't know. At some point, I'm waiting for the Minnesota bubble to burst. If they win this week in Green Bay, I believe. Yeah. Would you believe?
Well,
would you believe it's real?
I mean, you might have to think that. I mean, I don't really think much of the. You're talking about the Tampa Bay and the Eagles?
No, I'm talking about if Sam Darnold goes to Green Bay and wins this week. Do you think the Vikings are? Is my legit or bullshit? Are the Vikings legit at that point?
I mean, I think they are. Like.
I think
Darnold might not be like, I don't think Darnold's that worse than Kirk, at least how he's been playing. Like, take the name off the jersey. I think it's the Kevin O'Connell offense, and it might almost be close to the Shanahan offense where you just plug and play players and you got the right design and you keep throwing it. Like, you're going to move the ball. You put a defense behind that type of offense and it gets, you're going to get behind points, real fast.
Might be a better offense than we have right now. And yes, I just said that. We stink right now.
Hey, he torched us.
I'm going to the game in a couple of weeks when the Chiefs come to town, and I'm like, I just kind of hope that we don't get fucked up.
That would make me sick.
It might make me well. We got the pregame party, so there may be they may lose money on me with the amount of booze I might need for that game, brother. Let me tell you, fuck me, bro.
After that, right? Oh, good stuff.
You know,
good stuff.
And every camera in the world's gonna be like, "Is Taylor here? Is Taylor here?" Like, I don't probably, yeah. She's that little speck right there in the corner that you can't see.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Right,
Patrick says his current two
more.
RBs. Yeah, no, we're good. He says my current RBs are Etienne, Rashad White, Stevenson, Braylon Allen, Swift. He's in a 10-team league, non-PPR. Pick 2 of those guys to start this week. A little tougher.
Braylon Allen? No, I'm just kidding. I can't start him. But,
yeah, Swift's out of the question.
Swift's not even a part of the consideration. Braylon Allen, I think he's a nice flex, but I wouldn't start him. Look,
no Bucky Irving, Stevenson against San Francisco.
Maybe,
Etienne. I'm gonna go Etienne and White only because I'm literally starting that combo in the Get Right Dynasty League. So Patrick, if you start that combo, we're either going to be enjoying ourselves together or you know what together. So I'm riding it with you. I'm gonna go Etienne and White.
Yeah, that's the answer. I mean, like the Niners defense isn't great right now, but also like New England's offense is bad. So it's not like you had a great matchup against a bad defense, you know. So like, yeah, that's what difference is. Etienne was the clear start, but between White and Stevenson, I'll take White. So
I'll take
all right. Let's do one more. And then
we'll try to just rapid fire and just finish this up. It got to be too much for Frank on Wednesday. He actually left, and I kind of stayed for another like 20 minutes and finished it up. We had like over an hour and a half of like questions after the trade show. It was crazy. Anyway, I'll try to speed up. Shaheed or Higgins quickly on that one. Higgins. Yeah, we've been saying Higgins. Do here is no, you got something else. Dell's out. Stroud. Stroud or Daniels. We already said that. We did this one. Stroud. We're there. Do we see anything else there? Or here we go. Jason says in PPR, if Bucky Irving is out, would you start Rashad White in the flex or Khalil Shakir? And he is starting Drake London over Garrett Wilson this week. Is that a good call? Thanks. So I think yes to Rashad White in the flex with Bucky Irving out over Shakir. Because he gives you some passing and has that potential rushing touchdown upside as well. And then do you like the Drake over, or go ahead, I'll let you answer that one too with White.
We're going to say the same thing. I'll take Rashad White in the flex over Khalil Shakir, and I will take Drake London over Garrett Wilson because of Pat Surtain.
Exactly.
Shut down Surtain is not something I want to deal with unless he's not
PS2.
there. So
yeah. Don't just stay away. Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly. Superflex pick 2. If Love plays, we did that one already.
Yeah, we did that one. We're down here.
Are we done? Okay.
I start Stroud, Gibbs, Ramondre, Chase, Nico, McBride, and Etienne. Well, don't start McBride and Etienne with Daniels, Ertz, Amari Cooper. Okay, so this is his team: Shakir, Waddle, and Ferg. Well, hopefully he already played Ferg because he played last night. Would you send Ramondre, Ferguson, and Shakir for Garrett Wilson? Oof.
I probably would.
I would too. There's not enough there you're gonna miss on your team versus the benefits of Wilson. Ferguson's the only real player. I'm not a Ramondre guy.
Yeah, to me, Ramondre and Shakir I'd rather do. But if the guy really is looking for Ferguson as that tight end piece, I mean, if you can hold Ferguson, hold him, especially with McBride might be out a week or two. But yeah, I'm right there with you. So I agree. Did we get to this one, Myers or Keenan Allen?
I would take Jacoby Myers. I know you hate the Raiders, and I don't love him, but
I'm even Myers
over
too.
Keenan Allen. Yeah, that one's easier.
10-team full PPR in your flex, Godwin or Amari. That's actually a lot closer than I think.
I'm a clear Godwin on that, but that's my
clear
Watson.
Godwin.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's how I have it ranked, man. But like every time you just think Cooper, like he still just like puts up 30 and he's like doing it limping and like it's like the ugliest 25 to 30 points you'll get, and it always freaks you out. Again, going up against the Raiders. Man, I have him as my wide receiver 16 right now, and I have Godwin at 10 going up against that Philly D. I mean, they're both good starts, man. But yeah, I think I have to go Godwin too in this one. I have to go.
Godwin's been hot right now.
That's tough, man. Dig5 says, appreciate it, guys. Definitely subscribing. Absolutely. Make sure you subscribe to my boy over here too on the Extra Point. The links are in the description, and he's dropped it a couple times here in the chat. So make sure you get that done. Support all of our channels here on Get Right, man. We'd appreciate it. We're bringing you content basically 7 days a week. And always taking live Q&A questions like this. Top 5 low darks says, if Debo plays, should I play him over Amari? Will Debo get the same value coming off the injury, or will he be decoy Samuels again? That's what you have to worry about.
Yeah, that's what I worry about. I'd play Cooper.
Yeah, in that case, Cooper's a strong enough play again in this one going up against the Raiders, the clear alpha. I have him, like, if you give me, a plus, or, I'll take the higher on a half a touchdown, for sure in this game for Cooper.
I know Max Crosby.
Yeah, and no Max Crosby. So that would have made actually a real big difference.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, especially with Watson. He can't be under any kind of pressure. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Superflex League start to Hurts, Caleb, or JD5.
Hurts and Daniels.
Yep, that's where I'm at too. Jerome Ford legacy game. I agree with you there, Curtin. I have him ranked. When I did my rankings, it told me like you're really high on Jerome. Like you're like 15 spots higher on Jerome Ford than consensus. I'm like, yep, lock it in.
I think
I moved
Jordan
him down
Addison,
like 2 or 3 after
Jordan
that,
Addison and Jerome Ford are my guys for sure.
Oh yeah, if they go off,
those are the
happy.
homies. Those are the homies for sure.
For sure, and Watson and Christian Watson.
Oh, right, that's
those
your
guys.
That's your trio. That's your
those are like my
musketeers.
trio right there.
Yeah.
All right, is Kamara gonna play? I don't know, man. Might be tough. We'll see. But make sure you tune in to us on Sunday morning.
Yeah, you should tune in.
Classic
on
will
Sunday.
be here for the active and inactive. I think Phil said he's going to try to jump on possibly. I don't know if this weekend or sometime,
No,
soon.
this weekend because Underdog didn't have all their lines for the games built out the other day when I did my show. So they had a couple lines that I gave on the show, but there was more from each of the different plays. I think it's because, I'll be honest, I think it's because the injury news.
Oh yeah.
Because there was a lot of guys that because there's a lot. Yeah, well, there's a lot of guys that I'm like, I want to get advantage of that because I think what's going to happen, which is why those lines weren't available yet. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, so I might be there on Sunday Live with a couple extra lines for those that do higher or lower on Underdog with some DFS mixed in.
For sure. So yeah, make sure you guys tune in Sunday for that. Who should I start? T, Odunze, Pittman, or Addison? T, Addison, Odunze, Pittman is how I rank them.
Agreed.
Perfect. All right. RGQ is saying Jabril Peppers wears one of those
the guardian caps.
Guardian caps. Yeah. What did I say? Captain hat. Jeez, it's
Captain hat.
Going almost at 2 hours. All right, I'm gonna get
at least you didn't call it a pirate hat.
Yeah, exactly. The guardian cap.
Way off.
Oh man. Joe said he said, dude, I wish there was a show dedicated to that. So we have an audience member there for that. So that's for our members only for our high-end fantasy decisions there. Those tough decisions. We'll have to come up with a cool name for it. Are we worried at all about T since it's just the second game back? I'll let you answer that since you're big on him now. You saw what you needed to see last game?
Look, if he had scored the touchdown, we're not having this conversation. Fire him up, baby.
Fire him up. Let's see. The air. Oh, here we go. Robert's asking, likely Schultz with Dell out and Nico in the air, which he is starting though now, says he's good to go off the injury report, or do you go Conklin? I rank him Conklin, Schultz likely.
I agree.
All right.
I will just say this. I'm starting Schultz in a league over Mark Andrews right now.
Dang. Say it ain't so. I'll clip that on a short right there. We'll put that on the record.
I'm okay. I'm okay being
no. That's what I mean. Like, call your shot. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. That's bold.
Yeah, let's do it.
There you go. I'm still not there yet. I'm still just gonna write it out, man. Plenty of people get me zeros.
This
like,
week,
it happens. Just the way I play fantasy, I'm naturally there's going to be a couple guys that give me a 0, but hopefully the rest of the team makes up for it. Anyway, Camden says no, we got to that one already.
We did that one.
Let's see.
I got one here.
Oh, go ahead.
David, I have 3 spots. Who do I put in? Darnell Mooney, Chris Olave, Romo Dunze, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, or Keenan Allen. I would assume this is a full PPR, but I guess we'll just do it either way because it probably doesn't make a difference. There's no running backs on this list. I have it Higgins in there for sure. I didn't have a chance. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do the show a day or two ago, so I didn't finish my rankings, so I don't have them up in front of me. But I like Mooney this week. I'll be honest. I like Mooney this week. He's an interesting player. I don't know if I'd start him, but I do like him. Yeah. I'm probably taking Higgins, Rome, and I think Worthy. Olave's hamstring showed up today on the report, right? It wasn't yesterday, it was today.
It's today. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just take the upside of Worthy over Mooney in that case because I'm not playing Allen. So it's Higgins, Odunze, and I'll take the rookies. Yeah, Higgins and the rookies.
Yep,
Worthy.
Me too. I agree. Jason says, thanks for skipping me again, guys. Hopefully we got to it. I know we answered your question there. There was a moment where, we just kind of had to pull up a question real quick, but to make sure you don't get skipped, you can always just shoot us over a super chat, man. It shows up nice and bright. We can see it right away. You'll go right to the top of the list. So hopefully we got to it. We always try to make sure we go through and get any that we may have missed when all the mayhem's coming in through the chat. So good stuff there. We had Joe saying good night. Loves the content. Catch us later. Appreciate the support, my guy. Let's see. Rogers or Gino. Did we answer that already? I'm Gino. There we go. Patrick said extra point sub. Boom. Take it easy. He's out of here. So appreciate that.
Appreciate you, brother.
Let's see. Who else do we got? Jennings or Mooney this week? I assume that's Jennings.
Jennings.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jennings too. As long as there's no Debo. If Debo's there, then I'd go Mooney.
I would too, but yeah, I think it's Jennings.
Still think it's Jennings. All right.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Juwan Jennings this week? George Kittle's active, but Debo is questionable. I think I just said it right there, right before that.
Yeah.
I think if Debo's out, I still think he's worth playing, but he's not going to go crazy like he did when they were both out.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if Debo does play, though, I'm looking to kind of go elsewhere. He falls out of the flex range for me at that point.
Yep.
But it sounds like Phil might be a little comfortable still flexing him in that situation, right?
Yeah, I'm okay
Cool.
with that. We just did this one.
Okay, I was going to say, did we do that one? Sir Bakes a Lot, what's up, man? Good to have you in here. He says, what up, homies? What are the 3 affiliate channels? Go down in the description. You'll see it. One of them's my boy Phil Ruskin here, is joining me now on Fridays. He dropped the link right there in the chat. And then the Fantasy Football Tavern, and then our boy Tycoon and the Fantasy Boardroom, all shows that you can find here on Get Right Fantasy Network, as well as, of course, their own shows. But make sure you guys go check them out. That's what their logos look like, so that you're on the right page. But go check them out. Man. Good content. Kendall was just on part 1. Of course, Phil's here with me now, and you guys will catch Tycoon, I'm sure, with us. Sir Bakes a Lot, you've been with us before, so I know you know Tycoon. So make sure to throw him a sub as well. All right. So he says, yep, there we go. Don't chase the TDs. Kirk will spread it. Play Rashad. Stop crying, Jason. Well said. Let's go. We appreciate it, Jason. You can cry, man. We want to know, man. We want to get to your questions, man. I think this might be the last one here. Ayuk or DJ Moore?
Ayuk.
All right, there it is, man. So I think that's everything. Guys, if we didn't get to your question, I do apologize. It might have just got, skipped in the kind of hogwash there, but we tried to get to all of them. I'm pretty sure. I think the only one I didn't get to here was same question as last week. He was around. He said, if blank happens in week 4, you'll be shocked. So let's end on this one here.
The easy answer, if the Jaguars win. The Jaguars beat the Texans.
The Jags beat the Texans, you'd be shocked?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think I'm going to go.
I want to get a player take. No, go ahead. I want to get a player take. That's what I was
thinking. No, so my thing is, if Carolina beats Cincinnati, I'm shocked. That's my shock. I am. Like, I don't like everyone has done good against, but everyone is beat up on Carolina, man. Except for
don't tell the Raiders that.
We won't tell, but they're not a real team. But
don't tell the Raiders that. I want a player take here. I know.
See, there we go. Love it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, peace out, homies. Fuck the Niners. Love you, Rasta. Raiders. I'll give it to you. I'll
put it to you like this. If Drake London is the wide receiver 1 this week, that would shock me.
That would be shocking.
He's catching touchdowns, so if he can get touchdowns and then add some yards on top of it,
might be.
I actually see a path for him to get into there's some guys that you drafted earlier that are depressed right now. Like AJ Brown is out, right? Garrett Wilson has Surtain this week. Tyreek Hill's got some kind of the fucking quarterback from.
Who knows?
You know what I mean?
I might be throwing to him. I think they called me and left me a voicemail.
I think they had tryouts this week. You know what I mean? I think Ray Finkel was out there. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. So,
oh man.
But my point being is I actually think he's gonna have a good week, Drake London. But I'd be shocked if he's a wide receiver 1. But yeah, we'll see.
Man. There it is.
He's crazy.
Harry W says, I love you, Rasta, but I'm a Cowboys fan, not a Giants fan. Same amount of disappointment, though. So there you go. Even worse, I guess, or maybe a little better, but it's all good. I think it's Ray W, who's the Giants fan, who I also thought was a Niners fan. So I'm getting all my guys mixed up here a little bit. But, just correct me, man. I'll fix it. I'll remember. Appreciate you guys coming out, man, and dropping it. So, and I agree with you, man. Wide receiver 1 is Chase. So let's get out of here, man. Let's do it. Oh man, Sam, hopefully you're subscribed to us, man. We're going to squeeze in your question here right at the end.
One. If you're not, you owe us a sub. No, I'm kidding.
Definitely owe us a sub, man. This guy right here, it's in the description. And of course, throw us up here to get right. Should I trade David Njoku for Jonathan Brooks and Mooney? He has Kittle. Absolutely.
Hundo P.
Get it done. So glad you were able to squeeze that in for you. All right, guys. Before we get out of here, as I always like to do, I'm going to give the full screen here to my boy. Let him tell you what kind of content he has going on his channel, where you can find him, and all that good stuff. So here you go. The floor is yours.
Let's go. Appreciate it as always, brother. Such a good time to be here with the boys. Make sure that you jump on to my YouTube channel. Links are in the description. Extra Point. You can catch me on Wednesday nights doing the kind of podcast version of the show. We're going to be talking. Yeah, there you go. You got it. 6 p.m. Pacific. Thank you for that. We'll be talking about redraft, but obviously looking at it from a dynasty perspective. And then on Thursdays, I do my betting show. So obviously we've got underdog. We're going to do some higher lowers on underdog. And then I'll take you through kind of some cash lineups that I like on DraftKings in the DFS world, as well as weekly picks, straight up picks. And then again, for those folks in the confidence pool, I'll be telling you how many confidence points I have on each of those as well. And then you catch me every Friday. So go ahead and shoot that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. And then if you're a podcast listener, you can also catch the show, The Extra Point, on Spotify and Patreon. Releases usually the same day or the day after that I record it. So let's go, man. I might be on Sunday Live real quick. I don't know. I got to text Mike and see what he's got going. But I think there's a couple.
He'll take you anytime.
No, I just want to make sure there's a couple like lines that I have to provide folks that I think might be. Otherwise, I'm just not going to do it. Like underdog.
You got to make sure they actually come out. The ones
you got to remember that's early for me. That's early for us on the West Coast.
Bro, I've been like setting an alarm for 9:30 just to make sure I set my lineups, man. Because it'd be hitting like that sometimes. I don't know how the East Coast do that, man. I couldn't wait all day for football. I love just waking up and boom, football's here.
Yeah, dude.
It's like set your lineup, freak out, and then get to kickoff. It's good stuff. All right. So here we go, man. Hit that like button, you filthy savages. Please appreciate it, Mr. Bakes, a lot. Then King said he just subscribed to us as well. Said he's surprised this channel doesn't have too many subs. He just subscribed. Looking forward to the next stream. We will be here Sunday morning, and then again we're here Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays for Get Right. We have the Fantasy Boardroom on Tuesdays, and then my guy Phil, like he just said, on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Ton of content, ton of live streams. We'd love to interact, as you can see, with the channel. Over an hour of just Q&A. Even after we did our game-by-game breakdown. So we appreciate it, man. Tell your friends, have them come subscribe, support the channel, man. We're trying to hit that 1.3 thousand subscribers. And like he said, man, we should have more. So help us grow, my guy. Spread that love. We appreciate it. So last thing I just want to say before we get out of here, got to pay a little bit of bills. Make sure you guys go check out trophysmack.com, man. Get yourself one of these custom chains, ring, belt, even a standard trophy. But again, I love the rings. When we hit that 2,000 subscribers, we'll give it a 2,000 subscriber ring. I want to do it again. So help us get there. So when you go check out trophysmack.com, use that promo code Get Right on checkout and help support the channel. So from all of us here, man, at Get Right, again, Phil, appreciate you hopping on. It was fun to actually talk to somebody in that last hour.
Sorry, I was late, dog.
No, yeah, you're good, bro. Hey, you got to have a life, man. Yeah. You got to get it done. So again, I just appreciate it. You got another sub too, man. Bing, bing. There we go. Mr. Bakeslaw. There it is.
Boys.
So we love the support, guys. We'll keep the content coming for you. Again, good luck to you guys in all your matchups here this week. Any questions we couldn't get to today, make sure you tune in on Sunday morning to get those. Otherwise, for Dustin, for Classic Mike, for Tycoon, for my boy Frank, who was in the chat earlier, of course, for my guy Phil right here, and you guys know me, Rasta. We'll be back here. Good luck, and I will see you on Monday. And I might know what I'm doing here. Let's hit the outro. Peace.
Wanted to white fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go